What if I told you that prices are rising at the fastest pace in 3 years, and the man now in charge of fixing it has been on the job for less than a month? Welcome back to Money Monday. I'm Kevin, and today we're connecting 4 big stories into one clear picture for your wallet. By the end of this video, you'll understand why inflation just spiked to 4.2%, why the era of waiting on rate cuts is officially over, and what a brand new Fed Chair's first decision this Wednesday means for your mortgage, your credit cards, and your savings. Most importantly, you'll know exactly what to do about it, whether you're living paycheck to paycheck, building a middle-class nest egg, or sitting on serious investable assets. And stick with me, because there's a quiet warning light flashing on Wall Street that almost nobody is talking about. I'll get to that in a few minutes. Let's start with the numbers, because you know how we do it. Data first. Drama never. This week, the Bureau of Labor Statistics dropped 2 inflation reports, and together they tell quite a story. On Wednesday, the Consumer Price Index came in at 4.2% year-over-year for May. That's the hottest reading since April 2023. Then, on Thursday, the Producer Price Index, that's wholesale inflation, the prices businesses pay before you ever see a price tag, came in at 6.5%. That's the highest since November 2022. And history says wholesale prices today tend to become retail prices tomorrow. Here's the part that matters at your kitchen table. More than 60% of May's monthly price increase came from one place: energy. Gasoline is up 40.5% from a year ago. As I record this, AAA puts the national average at about $4.11 a gallon. Back in mid-January, we were paying around $2.84. If you've been with me through our episodes on the Iran conflict and the oil supply shock, this is that exact story landing in your driveway. And it's creeping into the grocery store too. Food at home is up 2.7%, with coffee up 17.5% and tomatoes up 32% from a year ago. Now, here's the silver lining in the data, and it's a real one. Core inflation, which strips out food and energy, is sitting at just 2.9%. That tells us this is still mostly a supply shock, working through the system, not a wage and price spiral. At least not yet. And that phrase, not yet, is doing a lot of heavy lifting, because back in 1973, oil spiked first, headline inflation jumped, and core inflation followed about 6 months later. The Federal Reserve knows that playbook by heart, and they're watching for it right now. Which brings us to the man of the hour. This Wednesday, Kevin Warsh chairs his very first Federal Reserve meeting as chairman. Markets fully expect no rate change. But here's what matters more than the decision itself. The futures market is now pricing essentially zero chance of a rate cut this year and a real possibility of a hike. One major bank, BNP Paribas, is even calling for 3 rate hikes starting in December. That's not the consensus view, but the fact that serious institutions are modeling hikes at all tells you how much the conversation has shifted. So here's takeaway number 1, and if you remember nothing else from today, remember this: don't build your financial plan around rate cuts. That refinancing window you've been waiting for may not open this year. Mortgage rates, auto loans, credit card APRs, they're staying elevated, and they could go higher before they go lower. Now you might be asking, why would the Fed even think about hiking when this is an oil problem? Raising interest rates doesn't drill a single well. The answer comes down to 2 words, and this is takeaway number 2, inflation expectations. When families start believing prices will just keep rising, they change their behavior. They ask for bigger raises, they buy things early to beat the price increase, and inflation starts feeding on itself. The University of Michigan survey showed expectations surging all spring, hitting 4.8% in May. Just this morning, the preliminary June reading actually cooled a bit to 4.6%, and the 5-year outlook eased too. That's genuinely encouraging. But both numbers are still more than double where the Fed wants them. Expectations are the whole ballgame. If they stay anchored, this shock passes through and fades. If they break loose, the Fed slams the brakes hard, and everyone's borrowing costs go up with it. In a moment, I'm going to show you that Wall Street warning light I mentioned and why it matters for anyone who's ever been pitched an exclusive investment opportunity. But first, let's get practical, because the same economy hits different households very differently. Both new money and price shocks tend to reach the wealthy first and working families last. So let's break this down by income class. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, your job right now is defense. Gas and groceries are the front line, so squeeze what you can. Gas price apps, warehouse fuel, meal planning around what's not spiking. In fact, go to my profile, click the beacons.ai link there, and scroll down to Upside and sign up with my link to save on gas at the pump. You can thank me later. Avoid taking on any new variable rate debt because credit cards are averaging over 20%, and if rates rise, that climbs with them. And here's the good news nobody tells you. High-yield savings accounts are paying around 4% right now. Every dollar of your emergency fund is finally earning real interest. Build it there, not in a checking account, paying nothing. To open your high-yield interest savings account, just go to my profile and click on the beacons.ai link. Then scroll down to Wealthfront High Yield Savings Account and get started to take advantage of an additional 0.75% to earn 4.05% for your first 3 months. It's free money. Don't leave it on the table. If you're middle class, the biggest mistake you can make is freezing. Don't pause your 401k contributions waiting for clarity. At minimum, capture your full employer match because that's an instant 100% return no market can give you. Keep dollar cost averaging into broad index funds because buying through volatility is how wealth gets built. And for any cash you'll need within the next 2 years, treasury bills, CDs, and money market funds are paying north of 4%. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, savers are genuinely getting paid. Take the win. If you're sitting on larger investable assets, the story is duration and discipline. The 30-year Treasury recently touched 5.2%, its highest level in 19 years. Thoughtfully locking in some of those yields can hedge your portfolio if stocks stumble. And speaking of discipline, the largest IPO in history just popped nearly 30% in a single day. When markets get that frothy, boring beats exciting, which is the perfect bridge to that warning light. It's called private credit. Over the last decade, Wall Street built a $2.1 trillion market of private loans, and lately it's been pitched hard to regular investors as an exclusive opportunity. Here's what's happening now. Investors have asked for roughly $40 billion back, and only about $18 billion has actually gotten out. Funds are using something called gates, which legally limit how much money can leave each quarter. PIMCO, one of the biggest bond managers on earth, just warned that the credit loss cycle has begun. I'm not predicting a crisis. The numbers are still small next to the whole market. But the lesson for your family is timeless. If an investment promises high yields, but can lock up your money when you need it most, that's not exclusive, that's a trapdoor. When plain old treasuries pay 4 to 5% with full liquidity, you don't need to reach for exotic. So let's bring it back home. Inflation is hot, but it's energy driven, and the core is holding for now. The Fed's new era starts Wednesday, and rate cuts are off the table, so position your debt and your savings accordingly. Watch inflation expectations because they decide whether this is a passing storm or a new climate, and keep your money where you can reach it. Next Money Monday, I'll break down exactly what Chairman Warsh said and what it means for the back half of 2026. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Until next time, I've been Kevin with moneytreeandme, providing better security and ensuring better lives. Okay, folks, I appreciate you. Make it a great day.